shot! No shot! Holy gosh! No way in hell I just witnessed.
ClowdyWorld, and we're breaking down this recent bridge collapse of the Baltimore Beltway this morning. A total collapse of the bridge and cutting off the city's container port from the global ocean, man. We're gonna break down everything going on and even the 6 potential people that are still missing. So, as we all know, the ship collided with Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, causing it to collapse. Now, the collision of the Dali, built in 2016 by Hyundai, operated by Maersk, took place around 3 a.m. of last night. It had occurred during rush hour, and this likely would have caused much more loss of life if it did, bro. Very, very glad and luckily that a lot of people actually made it away safe from this. Now, the collapse of the bridge means that Baltimore's container port is now cut off from the global ocean. And until salvage crews can clear the channel, the port is that gray area just to the north of the collapsed bridge. So Baltimore has had one of the largest ports, and it brings in a lot of traction, and this really couldn't have come at a worse time. Now, Flexport is the 9th largest importer of goods into the port of Baltimore. We only have 2 containers on the ship, both exports for nonprofit customers of flexport.org, but 330 containers currently en route to the port that have to be rerouted. Now, one of the containers on board contains a lot of donated playground equipment being shipped to Zambia, and other containers bedding toys and other supplies from a development project in Malawi. Both nonprofit customers have been notified of the delays, and things like that are coming. Now, all the ship traffic to the port of Baltimore is being rerouted, likely to either Philadelphia or Norfolk, Virginia. And the Flexport currently has 330 containers bound for Baltimore, and they're also working on new routes. Now, there's a lot of stuff with this, bro. And now, last year, Baltimore processed 1.1 million TEUs, making it the 12th largest container port in the United States, fam, and the most important port serving as the nation's capital. It's also the busiest U.S. port for car shipments, with more than 750,000 vehicles handled in 2023. If you ain't getting what's going on, it's a very important and integral port for the U.S. economy. At least some of the car ports are outside the bridge, so they shouldn't be affected too bad, but it'll be a huge issue for everyone else, as Baltimore is already the largest U.S. port by volume for handling farm and construction machinery, fam. Now, this is not the first time the Dali ship has been struck the city's infrastructure. It happened in a way less serious issue back in Antwerp in 2016. It was presumed was a different pilot driving, so this is starting to show a bigger track than we noticed. It's not more of human-made error and more of the technology and potentially some of these issues of just system error that can't be controlled. Now, redirecting all this cargo to other ports is likely to lead to congestion and delays across the eastern seaboard, which means that there's going to be a lot of delays and surges of volume. Now, the unions and operators of the East Coast ports are already negotiating their contracts. Money going to be made, and people going to have to be situated. Now, hopefully the salvage companies hired to clear the channel can get it open to restore operation in a matter of weeks instead of months, because that's tens of potentially hundreds of millions of dollars that are leaving Baltimore's economy and infrastructure. Now, this is one of the reasons that the U.S. Navy insisted on trying to help in this issue more than, trying with other things where building a tunnel rather than a bridge could possibly prevent the country's primary base from, being bottled up. Now, it's a lot of uncertainty going on from all this stuff as well, because ships rerouting around the Red Sea because of the Houthi attacks in the Panama Canal only are operating at 2/3 of the capacity due to the low water levels, and companies have been rerouting their cargo through east and west ports, opting to truck or rail it across the country to delay delays, which is still going to be a pretty big delay. Now, this will surely cause even more cargo to shift to the west coast and likely lead to congestion and delays as well. As we saw about 3 to 4 years ago with the big thing, there were a lot of delays in volume and a lot of congestion because of all the health crises going on. And the impact seems likely to run into the billions, fam. Not only for replacing the bridge and compensating the victims' families, but also for damages incurred by disruptions to cargo flow and the huge amount of highway traffic disruptions in the Baltimore region for months and potentially years, for God forbid, close to a decade to come. Now, who's going to pay for these damages, fam? The damage to the vessel and the cargo will be paid by the owners of the cargo, not by the ship owner or operator, which is crazy, fam. The cargo owners split this pro rata based on how many containers they have on the board, following a long established principle of maritime law called general average. Now, general average is an ancient principle older than even the US Constitution, which is pretty wild, designed to encourage sailors working to save a ship to not be concerned with whose cargo gets thrown overboard and just focus on saving the ship, and the cargo owners will split the losses evenly. Now, this is basically just giving you a really good breakdown of everything going on with kind of this entire issue of the bridge collapse. And it just shows with everything going on. And we can even talk about sometimes the immediate and long-term other aspects as well, fam. So the immediate stuff that's going to be happening recently is going to be first 24 to 72 hours, which is ship disruption. Cargo ships scheduled to arrive or depart from Baltimore will be diverted to other posts along the East Coast. This will cause cascading delays from Norfolk, Philadelphia, New York, etc. as they try to accommodate unexpected traffic. The stranded cargo, which is the inbound containers, will likely be held in diversion ports, incurring storage fees and delaying storage and supply trains. Outbound goods destined for overseas markets will also be stranded, and the imperishable items are probably going to be done and spoiled. So trucks waiting to load or unload the new accessible port will face chaos. A lot of drivers are going to lose money and income. Congestion on the alternative routes in around Baltimore is definitely going to worsen, and the economic damage is infeasible, fam. It'll be felt very quickly as shippers, port workers, trucking firms, custom brokers, warehouses will see an immediate drop in revenue or a complete work stoppage. Those short-term impacts in weeks will be the shifting supply chains. Business heavily relying on Baltimore's port are going to try to find alternate routes, but in this day and age, man, they might involve using other East Coast ports, increased costs and further delays exploring West Coast ports, and price hikes like crazy, which are going to be added costs of rerouting delays, which is really only going to affect a lot of the lower income in Baltimore, which is going to be sad as they try to find alternate routes. Now, this might involve using East Coast ports, and the storage fees will trickle down to consumers. Prices for goods will be imported or exported via Baltimore are likely to rise, and the Port of Baltimore will play a significant role in national distribution, as disruptions to fertilizer imports could impact agricultural yields across the U.S. We're going to feel this, and I keep telling people that this isn't just some isolated incident. Ports, cities, and port areas are integral for America and for how we do business and how we survive and thrive, man. The port's operations, the trucking logistics, and the warehouses could be forced to cut staff or reduce hours, and a lot of layoffs are probably to come. And long term, for months, is going to be reputation. The Port of Baltimore's reputation as a reliable linguistics hub is going to suffer, fam. Even post-repair, businesses are probably going to be hesitant to return, opting for ports that proved more resilient during the crisis. And accelerated infrastructure investment is likely to spark urgent investment in alternative transport routes, which means faster developments of rail links and upgrades to nearby ports. Potentially renewed discussions about alternate bridge or tunnel crossings as well means that, well, this is going to be a very hard issue in the moment. There may be a small beacon of hope in the future for what could possibly come and what could maybe be better for our future. Now, ClowdyWorld, and let me know what y'all think, man. I want to give a very information steep breakdown for what's going on with this port issue and kind of get you all's thoughts and just let you know that it's serious, but it's not the end of the world and we'll probably get through this. I pray for the people of Baltimore. I pray for the families affected. And ClowdyWorld, and let me know what you all think. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Let me know what you all think about how the way the mayor handled it. I thought he did an amazing job. And ClowdyWorld, we gone.